So here we go. It's called the herd hierarchy. We got some good teams now. There's a couple of teams I did not put in this herd hierarchy that I think will make the playoffs. So that's what we're looking at right now. We got some good football teams in this league. We have a very small top, but a pretty broad middle to slightly above average, and here we go.
Herd hierarchy.
Time is now. Let's go.
The top 10 NFL teams according to Colin. Number 10.
I've got a soft spot for the Tennessee Titans because it's old school football. I respect their head coach, Mike Vrabel. They overcame an 11-point deficit against the Ravens. They run the ball. They lead the league in rushing attempts, and they're pretty good playing from behind. Ryan Tannehill's had 5 winning drives this year, late in games, which leads the NFL. They are very old school football, but I got a soft spot for them because I've loved the NFL for 40 years, and I have the Titans, the well-coached Titans, at 10.
Number 9.
Seattle is 9, but I probably have them too low. Keep your eye on their defensive line. L.J. Collier had his best game as a pro last week, and Carlos Dunlap over from the Bengals appear to be able to provide the pass rush they need. They held Arizona to a season-low 21, and they have the easiest remaining schedule in the NFL. We know Russell's got 30 touchdown passes, tops in the league. I've got him a little low. I want to watch their defensive line this week. They may have solved a big issue.
Number 8.
I got to give it to the Raiders. They've become the model of consistency. 3-1 in their last 4 games, 15 straight games with over 300-plus total yards. That's the longest active streak in the NFL. They are best in the NFL on third down efficiency at 52%. Best in the NFL, meaning they've got a good enough offensive line to get a push. They're well coached, and they're efficient at quarterback. This is a big stat for me. Teams that are good on third down offensively, it tells you many things. Good O-line, good coaching, and a quarterback that can be efficient against pressure. Raiders at number 8.
Number 7.
Green Bay Packers. I may have them too high. I'm doing this for Aaron Rodgers because they have the worst red zone defense this year. Opponents score on 97% of red zone drives. They can't stop anybody down inside the 20. And they blew a 14-point lead against the Colts. They got pushed around the entire second half. But Aaron Rodgers is fantastic, and Davante Adams, you can make an argument, he's the second or third best wide receiver in this league. So this is just respect for Aaron. I believe they're too Aaron Davante dependent, but I'll put him at 7.
Number 6.
I'll put the Colts, who I think have a lower ceiling but play physical football. They've won 4 of 5. Their defense ranks top 5 in scoring, passing yards, and if you watch that second half against Green Bay, it was majestic. They just strapped on the helmets, put their head down, and burrowed over the Packers for 2 hours. By the way, Rivers has only been sacked 9 times. I've said this for years. Good offensive line, masks a lot of issues, and I love the Colts O-line. I've got them at 6.
Number 5.
Buffalo. Listen, defense can scare me, but their only losses are to the Titans, Chiefs, and Cardinals. Their defense has 10 turnovers in the last 5 games. That's good. And they have 9 takeaways in the fourth quarter this year, meaning when it's crunch time in the fourth quarter, they play defense. So I like their staff. Their quarterback worries me at times, but he's a hell of an athlete. And I don't have a lot of criticisms with Buffalo. Their defense worries me, but it tends to be good situationally, so I have them at 5.
Number 4.
Rams dominated the Bucs last night, had over 200 more yards, almost. 32-0 when they lead with Sean McVay at half since he got there. Number 1 in total defense, number 2 in scoring defense, and here's what I really like. I think their secondary is the best in the league. I think they've drafted their secondary. When they got Jalen Ramsey, a big corner, he is so valuable in that division against DK Metcalf and DeAndre Hopkins, Deebo Samuel. That's such a smart pickup. They can put him on a Mike Evans and slow him down. And again, what aren't they good at? Their secondary now it was an issue 2 years ago. It is now a team strength. They moved the ball without Andrew Whitworth at left tackle. I got him 4.
Number 3.
Saints. Defense was really a mess early in the year. It no longer is. Now, I do worry they have 7 come-from-behind wins. Why are they always having to come from behind? But I got to tell you, How many teams in the NFL could go 6-0 with backups? I watched Taysom Hill Sunday, and I'm like, nobody else could do this. They are so good structurally. GM, coach, offensive, defensive line play. I think their pass rush is a little more consistent than the Rams is, so I have them at 3.
Number 2.
This is where it gets easy. The Steelers are 10-0, remarkably, for the first time in franchise history. They've got, now, they have played the easiest strength of schedule in the NFL this season. Some of it is they've beaten a lot of crap. They have the Ravens, Bills, Colts, and Browns coming up, and I do not think they'll go 4-0 there. They win a lot of close games against decent teams. They don't have the running game. I think that gets you to a Super Bowl, but I have them at 2 because they're 10-0, and their defense, especially up front, is nasty.
Number 1.
The Chiefs are 18-1 over the last calendar year. At this point, if you're going to not put them at number 1, you're just trying to be obnoxious. As much as I want to put them 2 or 3 because of Nick Wright, I love a football team that can win playing poorly or win when it's outplayed. And I thought the Raiders outplayed them for chunks of that game, and the Raiders are a good team. And they still came back on the road to win. They win behind, they win on the road, and again, they're 18-1 in the last calendar year. There you go. Our herd hierarchy. Now, I didn't have the Browns in it. Good team. Didn't have the Browns in it. I have them at 11. And I will say this. Jon Gruden's my coach of the year. Kevin Stefanski is the runner-up. I think he's done a great job. First of all, when you become head coach at Cleveland, there's just a history of dysfunction, overreacting. It's not been one of the great owned franchises in the NFL or run. But I got to tell you something. To have a below-average quarterback and be 7-3 in that division, their losses are to the Steelers, the Raiders in a wacky weather game, and the Ravens. They're good. And here's what I like about Kevin Stefanski. He took him 2 weeks to identify what the team was and what the team wasn't. John Dorsey, the GM that's gone, couldn't do that in 3 years. 3 coaches couldn't do it. He has figured out really quickly Baker Mayfield is a complementary piece. That is it. I mean, think about it. They got a draft at a great tackle, and in free agency, they got a great tackle. So their offensive line is significantly better, and they added a Pro Bowl level tight end. You'd think, they're going to throw more. No, they're throwing less. They were 10th in pass attempts last year. They're 26th in pass attempts this year. Why? Because Kevin Stefanski by week 2 realized, here's what we are, and here's what we're not. He didn't draft Baker. I don't think he would. He's not beholden to him. He doesn't have the general manager who drafted him, and he identified really quickly. Baker is at his best, throwing about 25 times a game, hopefully with a strong running game, which allows him to throw on 2nd and 5 and 3rd and 2. And Baker in that space, pretty darn good. But Baker trailing or Baker under pressure, the numbers are out. He's bad, like bottom of the league. Baker trailing, Baker has to throw, Baker with a pass rush, he's awful. Okay, that's fine. Baker with a lead in the running game, you win games. They're not pretty, and they've been playing in bad weather, so I haven't had any strong opinions on Cleveland in 3 weeks. They're playing in 30-mile-an-hour winds. If you're playing in a city where you'd be cautious to land a plane, I'm not going to rip you. So Cleveland's winning. They deserve credit, but I think Stefanski's done a great job. I have Cleveland at number 11. Sorry if I don't trust them as much as the Titans and Mike Vrabel. I don't, but I think their coach has done a remarkable job, and I'll tell you this. If I'm a Cleveland Brown fan, I don't know if Baker's there in a couple years. I think Stefanski will be. I think Cleveland found their coach. And it's one thing about coaching. Like, you can say, when I look at coaching, there's 2 things that I look for. And right now, Tampa's struggling with this and Philadelphia's struggling. So Bruce Arians and Doug Peterson are struggling. Do you identify what you are and what you're not? Tampa still doesn't know. Philadelphia doesn't know. That's the one thing. And do I get a consistent effort week to week? I don't with Philly and I don't with Tampa. When I watch the Browns, I kind of get the same team every week. Even the loss to the Raiders. There was a crazy weather game. I'm I'm not gonna bang on him for that. I didn't say anything negative about Cleveland after that loss. I'm like, come on, it's 35-mile-an-hour winds. I got nothing to say. But my thing is, do you have an offensive identity? They do. And do I kind of get the same team every week? I kind of do. The same ceiling, the same strength, the same liabilities. I kind of get it every week. So I think Stefanski's a home run. I think he did it. I think, it doesn't take long. We've seen this before. Matt Patricia, we knew about 8 games in. Doesn't work. It's not good. And we also knew with Sean McVay 8 games in. Oh, it's really good. This is really good. Sean McDermott at Buffalo. We knew by very early year 2. He knows what he's doing. Matt Rule at Carolina. I think we have all figured out he knows what he's doing. It doesn't take long. Joe Judge, I'm a fan of. I think Stefanski works. Now, you could say, well, they got a lot of talent. Cleveland's had a lot of talent for a lot of my life. Cleveland's had a lot of talent for a lot of my life. But it's been a circus. Also, Cleveland doesn't talk anymore. Cleveland doesn't yap anymore. When's the last time we talked about the Cleveland Browns? We don't. I lived on the Browns for 3 years. They never shut up. They don't talk anymore. They're like grown-ups. Stefanski gets credit for that. He's just one of those guys. Academic, cerebral, smart. He's got a little alpha, but not too much to be silly. I like what he's done. I really like what he's done.